Diary, 21st January 2022. I am going to have the best teenage years. Dear Diary, 24th October 2022. I am just a walking paradox who wants to rule the world but still needs permission to leave the house. Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, and teenagers. I am Navya Dave standing before you with a head full of ideas and eyes filled with dreams and a sudden realization. Our teenage years are our massive, messy in between. In science, there is a word for this interstitium. My biology textbook says interstitium is a contiguous, fluid filled network of spaces located between a structural barrier and internal organs. These spaces are necessary for shock absorption, transporting nutrients, and connecting cells. Simply put, interstitium is where life actually happens. Our teenage years are our human interstitium. They are our social, emotional, and biological interstitium. We are not just kids, not yet adults, living entirely in the shock absorbing, growth inducing space in between. As a child, I always imagined my teenage years as the glamorous entry of a main character, surrounded by dozens of friends, straight A's, legendary birthday parties, and endless awards. But life is not a movie scene, and everything doesn't come into play like we plan. And my teenage years were anything but planned. I had fights with my mother every day. My body was changing in ways I didn't understand. At school, a sharp line was drawn between the cool kids and the nerds, and I didn't fit into either. My mind was a complete roller coaster, stuck in a paradox. Did I want to be the quiet introvert or the cheerful extrovert, or just fade into the background? My glamorous teen bubble had burst. But I eventually realized I wasn't failing at life. I was just stuck in a biological science experiment. Let me explain. A teenager's brain is like an active war zone. Meet your amygdala, the emotional powerhouse of the brain. It is fully developed, fully awake, and running on 10 cups of coffee. Now, meet your logic and the decision making center, the prefrontal cortex. It won't be fully built until you are 25. Right now, it is still loading. That means we experience massive adult sized emotions. But our brain's logic department, it's run by a single confused intern. To make matters worse, our brain undergoes an interstitial phase called the synaptic pruning, which operates on a savage policy: use it or lose it. Our brain aggressively deletes millions of neural pathways like a teenager clearing their browser history, while frantically wrapping others in myelin to make thoughts move faster. Because our internal neural maps are being physically rewired every single day. Emotional instability, that's our default setting. To top it off, puberty floods our bodies with a toxic tidal wave of testosterone, estrogen, and cortisol. These hormones completely hijack our brain's reward system, making social approval and peer acceptance matters of literal physical survival. For a teenager, getting left on red or excluded from a group chat doesn't just bruise our ego, it triggers a full-blown biological panic attack, convincing our bodies that we are being hunted by a saber-toothed tiger. So, what actually happens after you survive this biological panic attack? You don't just stay confused forever. This interstitial phase helps you to grow from the inside out. Trust me, I am the living proof of it. Now, it would be wonderful if I told you that I woke up one fine morning and my fairy godmother flew through the window, waved her wand, like Harry Potter and muttered, bippity boppity boo, and voila, I was instantly fixed. There was no instant magical quick fix. In reality, there was no single revolutionary incident that truly shaped me. It was the simple 13 to 17-year stretch that quietly shaped me. Inside the gaps, day by day, change began to happen. That explosive anger, the kind that used to make me scream and slam doors, started to quiet down. Now, I don't see my mother as my villain, but as my best friend. My father, not as a control freak, but as an anchor. And my sister, not as a privacy stealer, but as my truest confidant. As my hyperactive amygdala and my lazy prefrontal cortex began to talk to each other, instead of letting my emotions drown me, I learned how to swim through them. As my brain cleared out the clutter, I realized I didn't have to fit into the rigid categories of cool kids or nerds. I created my own category, being Navya. So, to every teenager in this room who feels like they are losing their mind, and to every adult trying to guide them through the storm, remember the signs. The chaos is necessary. The shock absorption is mandatory. Your teenage years are your human interstitial. It is messy, it is unstable, and it is beautiful. At 13, I thought having the best teenage meant having zero problems. At 17, I realized it means to have the strength to grow through them. Dear Diary, 21st January 2026. Don't run from the in between, because right there in the middle of the broken bubbles and the rewiring is where we grow, where we learn, and where we breathe. Looking back at the pages of my human interstitial, I realized I really did have the best teenage years. Thank you.